Yo, hop about the bed, put my swag on, take a look in the mirror, say what's up. Yeah, get money. Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? I'm not getting the money right now because the podcast ain't blew up yet, but we on the way though. And this is your boy, Sexy Snax. You know what I'm saying? We call me Snax. When I'm on the show, I'm Snax. On Instagram, it's Sexy Snax. But yeah, your boy Snax is here with episode 42 of Just Hear Me Out podcast. I got a couple news things I want to touch on and then some little inspiration, and we're going to keep it pushing, baby. But yeah, so you're here with episode 42, and we're going to jump right in it without further ado. I hope you've had a great weekend. I hope that, your first few days of work has been amazing. Because I'm anticipating this going to drop on a Tuesday. I'm recording on a Sunday. Yes, I'm in here. I got my show notes. We got a few things we're going to touch on that means something to me. Hopefully it means something to y'all. I'm thinking it do, but yeah, we're going to get right to it. First off in the news, strange news. 50,000 dried shark fins disguised as car parts has been seized at the U.S. ports worth over $1 million just last week. Yeah. It started off in Anchorage where they hit a big bust of some shark fins. And the next thing you know, they opened up an investigation. Then they found some in Cincinnati and in Louisville, Kentucky, which is strange to me because those are landlocked. So how did they get them? But word is they was coming from Mexico going to Hong Kong, where in Hong Kong, it's a delicacy. And I'm like, wait, shark fins? I'm curious as to what it's made of. If it's cartilage, though I'm not gonna lie. I am the type of person who eats the cartilage off the chicken bone. I don't play. When it comes to chicken, yes, I'm eating the meat and the cartilage. Now, I don't go too far now, like my ex-mother-in-law. I guess she's still my mother-in-law till I get married again. So my mother-in-law who will eat the marrow out the bone. I don't understand it, but she definitely does that. I stop at the cartilage. Now, I might take off of the drum or the leg. I might take that little bone off and make sure I clean it off too, as I do the rest of the bone. And I may even eat the bottom, the foot, because it's the leg I want to say the high part connected to the thigh. I'm eating all of that, and then at the bottom where there's a little cartilage, a little bit, and I guess the bottom of the foot. Or where the leg will be connected to the foot. Oh, yeah, I'm eating that too. But we're going to clean that thing. So I'm wondering if this is what shark fin tastes like. Now, I did a little looking around because I'm like, shark fin, and they shipping it in like that. Well, how much does shark fin go for, and what do they make with it in Hong Kong? Well, in Hong Kong, they make something called a shark fin soup. And it's served at maybe weddings or banquets or any kind of special occasion where, it's a status symbol. It's a symbol of status if you serve shark fin soup. And so then I looked it up, wondering how much it cost in US dollars. Because in Hong Kongian dollars, and I think it was HKD was the acronym for it. So I'm guessing it's Hong Kong dollars. It was a lot, but that don't mean nothing to me. I'm trying to see how much of my hourly check I'm finna have to spend to get me some shark fin. You feel me? And so I looked it up, and it wasn't but $10 to $150, which, I mean, that's, so maybe it's like the idea of a steak, because you can get steaks around here for, if you go to, Applebee's or Chili's, you can get it for maybe $15, come out of there with a little steak, and then they can get up there in prices. If you go to STK or Chopped or, some of these places here in Atlanta that's expensive. So that was a strange story to me. 50,000 shark fins seized. Of course, the Animal and Wildlife had to do something about it. And it just so come that those particular sharks were protected. They also said they could sell cheaper shark and you can get it for less, but it's going to range $10 to $150. So maybe when I find myself in Hong Kong, I think that's Japan, Hong Kong, or is that China? Golly, I'm showing my global illiteracy right now because I can't remember. And if this podcast mic wasn't turned on, I promise you I would. But because this mic is on, I don't remember. But I would like to travel there and taste some shark fin, because I don't even think I've ever seen shark fin on nobody's menu here. And I'm pretty much sure it damn sure ain't on Cincinnati or Louisville, Kentucky's menu. That must have just been a pass-through place. And I'm thinking you shipping it is landlocked. I mean, you shipping it is on a boat. But I guess it could have been on a plane. But then coming from Mexico, I guess you got to travel over the United States. That's another thing, too. I realized that when you travel overseas, the plane likes to stay, over the land for as long as it can until it has to cross the water. So maybe in its traveling, that's what it did. And I could be wrong about my plane flights, but anytime I ever took one, it seemed like the plane would go north before it would ever go east to fly over the water, which is always the way I ever went over the water. I ain't never went the other way. But anyway, that's that news. The next news is Nick Cannon believes that the Bible is an allegorical tale and not a historical book. Listen, Nick Cannon can believe what he want to believe. I'm not mad at Nick Cannon. Now, some people is, and I don't care. You believe what you want to believe. I must still enjoy your TV shows. If it's TV shows, your Yall and Knots. And I was never really a big fan of his rap, but his comedy, yeah. His entertainment, yeah. I'm going to still watch it. It ain't going to mean nothing to me. For me, and that's kind of where I'm coming from with my religion, my religious pursuits is, for me, Jesus, the Bible, God works as an anchor for me. Something that, like a lighthouse or a North Star, like it was for the wise men when they went to find Jesus. But it guides me. It tells me what's right and what's wrong. It makes me a better person. It helps me to override thoughts of maybe revenge or thoughts of sadness, thoughts of being ungrateful or hate, hateful or, petty. Because I can be petty, and I'm going to tell you for sure I can be petty. If the Lord has a work to do in me, that's one of the main ones, is being petty. Another one is complaining, but that's later on in today's episode that we're going to get into that just a little bit. But Nick Cannon don't believe, hey, that's on Nick Cannon. And I think that, when it comes to religion, it's for you. It's not for them. It's for you to work out. Now, once you got a handle on it in a way that shows you that you're broken and that you need help, then it can be for them. But only from the standpoint of, hey, I needed Jesus and he helped me in this way. Perhaps he can help you as well. Never from the standpoint, at least the way I've always approached it and known it, is for me to be telling people, that they're going to get judged. Unless they already in faith and claiming some kind of faith, then I might want to use it to encourage them that, hey, God watching you for that, and you say you rocking with him, but just know he watching. So, hey, I'm not telling you it's wrong, but if he think that's wrong, you know what I'm saying? And that's from that point, never for me to be out here telling people who never believed, hey, you going to hell, buddy, or that right there is a sin, because they don't care nothing about that. They not believing. They ain't even trying to. But and then furthermore, for me, this is for me. Any kind of belief in a supreme being starts somewhere, and where you gonna get it if not from a book that was written, and which is supposed to be quote unquote history. No matter what religion it is, it always starts with knowledge passed from somewhere, either mouth to mouth or in a book to which they're gonna get it. And whether it's a book or it's mouth to mouth, it's all still up for question. And at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to faith, to your belief. Do you believe? And again, do you believe for you? Because that is, to me, what the Bible or any kind of religion is aimed at, geared to changing you as a person, to making you a better person. I remember whenever I was my most excited for God and my closest to him, I remember thinking to myself that even if this turned out to be a lie, this probably makes me a better person anyway. And so I loved it. And since then, I've gotten away. Life changed, life comes and you change the way you think and feel about things. But I think I'm coming back to that idea. And that is, if Jesus and God and his word and the Holy Spirit will make me a better person, that will help me be settled in my thoughts, my pursuits and my desires, make me more likable, maybe to where I like myself a little more and I'm a little more disciplined in my life. That is what I choose. Now, there probably can be words said about what I just said as far as, you need the Bible to like yourself. No. I mean, I do need some of the things that it says, how God loves me regardless of who I am. So then I can love me regardless, right? And then not just that, but here it comes where it makes you a better person in the world, is because then I love others. And I think I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts yesterday or the day before, and they wanted to know, big shout out to Flagrant and Andrew Schultz, because he said he wanted to know what happened after Jesus died to make the gospel blow up, to make, Christianity blow up as it did, because they killed the leader, right? But it seems that it grew even faster after that, and spread after that. So much so that one of the rulers in Rome made it the official religion. Now, how is it? And they pointed that out, is how is it that the ruler are the same people who killed Jesus could then turn around and make everything he stood for the religion of the whole people? And he wanted to know in that 300-year gap how it came to be. And they called one of the guys on the show's moms, who's a big Catholic. But she said what I was thinking. And what I just said is that, and this is not me shitting on or talking about other religions or making them look bad at it. That's never my goal. That's never what I want to do. I just want to be a Christian. I just want to live for God. I want to live for Jesus. You live for who you want to. Nick Cannon can live for who he want to. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and if he thinks that makes him a better person, then good. Because we got to get along, right? I'm old. I can't remember who said it. Can we all get along? But in that gap after Jesus died, Christians seemed to be good people and better people in the way that they would deal with one another and the way that they would deal with the government. I mean, the way that they would be killed and tortured. And many times it was without resistance. And in some of them cases, they fully embraced it, such as one of the patriarchs, which would be Peter, I think, one of the disciples, who was crucified like Jesus. But instead of being crucified exactly like him, he said, I'm not worthy to be crucified in the way that he was. I need y'all to turn my cross upside down. And then if you read Fox's Book of Martyrs, which is supposed to be a historical, a book of history, some literally ran to their deaths when they was given opportunity to change or to die. And I think in some cases they were freezing them in a lake, or, pushing them off in a lake until they froze to death. They would literally say, other than renounce Jesus, I'm finna choose to die, and would run head first. And then in some cases, the soldiers watching them would be like, dang, we never seen no faith like this. This Jesus must be real. And then they ran in right after him. But Christians in those times seemed to be good people, were known to be good people, despite the fact that they was getting their heads lopped off by the government. And if wisdom is any kin of mine, I would dare say that it was the religious leaders of that time who was pushing for Jesus to get killed. I would wonder if in that 300 years, it was also the religious leaders still of that time that had them killed. But they were known to be meek and mild, like Jesus was, serving people, taking care of, looking out, walking in love. You be a good person like that. I've experienced it in my life. I mean, it's been a long time, where you live your life in such a way people want to know why you like this. Why you not angry like they angry, or angry about what they're angry about, or why you not doing the things that they doing, or you not even, it's like you different. It's like you not even bothered by, the things going around. And this would be, to me, why I think it grew in that 300 years. And it is to me now what I seek to get back to. Being loving, kind, considerate, compassionate, even in strenuous situations, when things are hard and tough, when you're unliked, still showing love, when you're threatened, you're not bothered, and that's that. So we're going to move right along, which I should skip this one because I'm already really in. Now we're going to copy into it. The last news report is the worst rappers in hip hop. This one came across, and this one is, I love hip hop. And so they put out a list of 5 rappers that are the worst rappers in history. And I totally disagree. Tekashi 6ix9ine, Soulja Boy, Vanilla Ice, Silk the Shocker, and Blueface. And I don't know Tekashi 6ix9ine. I do know Vanilla Ice, but that's old. This really, yeah. And the songs he dropped was hits, regardless of what you say. When they came out, people were singing them. You can say what you want to say. Silk the Shocker and Blueface. Now, Silk the Shocker and Blueface, I don't really know nothing about that. Well, I do know Silk the Shocker is garbage. I will say that. And I don't know Blueface, and I don't know Tekashi 6ix9ine. But Silk the Shocker, what I do know, he probably should have been the father of the worst rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like all his children. He should be the father, and the rest of them should be his children. Except for Soulja Boy. I don't like this idea that y'all think Soulja Boy was one of the worst rappers alive. What are you talking about? I'm talking about Kiss Me Through the Phone? What? Crank that? Hop up out of bed, turn my swag on, take a look in the mirror, say what's up. Yeah, getting money. Now you don't tell me that ain't no hit. Even if the lyrics were worse, even if the lyrics wasn't that great, the hook and the beat is enough to save the lyrics. Yes. What we got? Soulja Boy, Tell 'em. And what about Pretty Boy Swag? What? All the way turned up and Gucci bandana. What y'all tripping? What y'all fail to realize is that Soulja Boy gave start to a lot of the people you like. Soulja Boy was the first to use the internet to blow up. He made it seem possible. And that's which started a lot of other things, and a lot of other, in my idea, gives way to a lot of other people thinking they can make it in whatever it is. I would say even down to content creation. Using the internet for fame and fortune. Popularity. Started by Soulja Boy. We take a look. I did a quick Google. It says, Soulja Boy was early to realize that YouTube, social platforms, memes, direct fan engagement, and self-promotion could launch a career without waiting for radio or labels. After him, many artists used versions of that blueprint, such as Justin Bieber, discovered through YouTube covers, then exploded globally. Chief Keef, viral videos, and internet buzz helped turn local fame into national attention. Lil B mastered online cult fandom, memes, and nonstop uploads. Chance the Rapper built major success independently through streaming and social media. Lil Nas X, perhaps the purest later example, turning memes and TikTok into a rocket launch with Old Town Road. Doja Cat, internet humor, viral clips, and fan culture became fuel. Ice Spice. A big shout out to Ice Spice too. I seen lately she got in a fight. That one came in through my feed. Yesterday or the day before? She was sitting in the McDonald's and a fan walked in and basically picked a fight with her. She wanted to sit with her. I think I tried to read it because I was going to put it in the news. Or actually, I was going to do an Instagram reel, to support the podcast on it. But what happened was the fan came in. Ice Spice was sitting at the table with one of her friends. They was eating, and from what I read or what was reported, she tried to ask her to sit down with them, and Ice didn't allow it. The girl said Ice got an attitude with her, but these are words. All I'm looking at is video, and it did seem like the girl, because without filling in the blank, the girl just really walked in and picked a fight. You could tell by mannerisms without words that the girl came in and was on something. Like she was stirring up the pot. And then she tried to hit Ice Spice. Next thing you know, they wound up going outside, and and Ice Spice was standing her ground, I was like, yo, okay. But then the other thing I'm thinking is, where your security detail at? Or maybe you don't need none. Long as long as she ready to throw them hands when she get tested, So, but I thought that was definitely. I was surprised. I was glad to see that she was standing her ground and not just being, because I thought she was finna get beat up, finna get scrubbed. You just a singer, you can't fight. I'm sorry, that's what I was thinking. But she held her own. And they went outside, and at one point she was like, no, she came in here on some mess. I need you to go get her, bring her back. We finna handle this. And so anyway, but Ice Spice, she also took Soulja Boy's swag, social snippets, and viral momentum, accelerated fame fast. And then NBA Youngboy, which NBA Youngboy is major, because this fool, I guess with the drill music, then he wound up getting locked up, but his fame didn't stop. He was not locked up, but he was on house arrest and still was, booming, making music, and people still was loving him anyway. But huge YouTube presence and direct to fans dominance. So when y'all say worst rappers, sometimes I think the success should be able to save you from some of this. And in Soulja Boy's case, I definitely feel like, his success should save him from being lumped in with the rest of them. Silk the Shocker definitely could be the daddy of, sorry, I'm trying to log back in because this is where my show notes is at. I'm in a different position right now while we're doing the podcast. I'm trying to learn to do it solo. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Did I put in? I'm trying to learn to do it solo, but from another perspective other than me sitting in that chair that I normally sit in. Okay. I didn't know how many times I was going to try to log in before it was going to lock me out. That's the last thing I want to happen. Get locked out. But we on the last segment anyway, or the last piece of the podcast. And that's where we're going to talk about a little introspective stuff, even though we just had it a little bit when we was talking about Nick Cannon. But I want to delve into it in the way that I seen it and what I was planning for. And that is where I talk about this latest book that I've been reading, called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. I'm trying to learn not to be a complainer. I realize that in my life and in that there's a specific area where I become a complainer. And I'm trying to work that out to see if it's me. Because it may just be me. And I'm trying to change my perspective on things. And so I picked up this book because it was prescribed. I'm not say prescribed. Somebody was, they had read it and they was talking about what the book was about. And I heard it and I was like, oh, it sounds interesting. I'm gonna get it and read it. And it was actually a comedian, and I like the comedian. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this book and I'm gonna read it. He's very introspective, and he has a Christian background and upbringing. So I relate to him as he grows up and goes through the world. He's a little younger than I am, but it's still interesting to see how the world changes our beliefs and shapes our beliefs, despite of how we grew up. And so I started reading the book, and what it's about is about this guy who was in a concentration camp in World War II. A psychologist or a psychiatrist. I get them too confused. But he went as he was a doctor, but he was in the concentration camps, being tortured and, enslaved, for lack of a better term, but still really enslaved. You feel like you're going to upset somebody if I use the word enslaved, because we were slaves, but then can you say that the people in the Holocaust were enslaved? But they was. I mean, they was. So, that's the words I'm using. If you're offended, okay, whatever. But the book points out how people can thrive or minimize their struggle, and how it really starts with their perception, their outlook. We have sayings that people, are a product of their environment. Well, he kind of knocks against that. He bumps against that. And he really makes a case in the book about it really being how you see it. It really leans into, how you are as a person. And I'll read some of the excerpts that's jumping out to me. I didn't really know because I'm still in the book, so I'm still giving it thoughts, but it's definitely good. And I just wanted to share it. But it says, the attempt to develop a sense of humor and to see things in a humorous light is some kind of a trick learned while mastering the art of living. Yet it is possible to practice the art of living even in a concentration camp, although suffering is omnipresent, ever with you. And he mastering the art of life. And I think that's what we're all here trying to do, right? Whether you believe in God or not, no matter what you got going on, you're alive, right? And you practicing, living every breath you take, every interaction, no matter what you do, you're practicing. And you can get to a place where you master it. And I think that mastering starts inside, about how you feel, how you think. And first off, about yourself. I'm gonna read you another excerpt because I had my words together and it's just not coming to me like I wanted to spit it out. And I might have should have wrote it all out, but I don't want to have a podcast where all I do is get up here and read you what I wrote down. Though, if it comes to it, I will. If I have to if I feel like I'm not communicating the message good enough, I'll write it down. And after I finish this, if it's not good enough, I'll say it again on episode 43, in a better way. After I've written it down, I'll make it the episode's motto until I got that thing. I'll make it the podcast motto. Besides, not a tongue bitten and always worth the listen. I'll make it this until I get it right. But it says in another excerpt, it says, and I apologize if I'm butchering it. I am trying my best, and we're going to get it right, though. It says, even though conditions such as lack of sleep, insufficient food, and various mental stresses may suggest that the inmates were bound to react in certain ways, in the final analysis, it becomes clear that the sort of person the prisoner became was the result of an inner decision and not the result of camp influences alone. Fundamentally, therefore, any man can, even under such circumstances, decide what shall become of him mentally and spiritually. In the book, he talks about times when they would, I guess, mentally leave the place and think about the smallest things, maybe relationships they had before they came and what they'll look like afterwards. And he said those types of thoughts would hold a man down. He said you would learn to. He said you learn to love, to look out for your fellow man. Even though y'all are living off of rations of bread, you find some people giving theirs away and going hungry to help someone else. You find yourself finding peace within, joy within. He said that they would have meetings and fellowships for whatever. And, even in the midst of trouble, even in the midst of a hard time, for me, I will complain when it is a hard time. When I don't like what's going on, I'll find a reason to complain about it. I don't like it because it's too hot. I don't like it because it's too cold. This is boring. This is dumb. Why am I here? I'm ready to go. When When will I get paid? When we're about to get off work? And complain. I don't like it that you do this. I don't like it that you do that. I wish you would do this. I wish you would do that. Other than finding something to be happy about, even in the place that I am. At 40, my biggest thing has been my happiness, and that I'm responsible for it. And so sometimes that means I will do whatever I need to do to make me happy, even if it may make some people sad. I'm finna do what I gotta do, because my happiness is my responsibility, even if that means I'm going to railroad you to make me happy. I'll do it. And this book, in a way, is challenging that for me. It's making me think that maybe sometimes I need to, instead of just trying to evade suffering, sometimes maybe it's good and beneficial to find happiness there. Especially in times when I may be suffering for a reason, a good reason. Maybe it would be good for me to find happiness there so I can suffer for the greater good. So that's kind of what the book is teaching me, that I can find humor. I can find joy. Even in tough spots, in tough situations. I don't have to complain all the time or be so downtrodden because of what's going on at the time. So, off-putting, yeah. So that's it. I'm not going to rant on it more than that. That's what and I may say it again because I'm still reading the book and it's still a thought that's very much so on my mind. I may write about it and then come read what I wrote. So maybe I can say it good, say it in a better way. I heard one time before, through repetitious information, we learn by hearing something over and over and over again. And this is worth it. That's what I should say. This is worth it. And this is your boy Snax, and I'm not going to hold up or take any more of your time. Thank you for listening. We working, baby. We working on a podcast that is going to last forever, and I'm only going to get better. I do like this position, I will say. I do like sitting here. I need to probably get me a gaming chair, something a little more comfortable than this iron chair that I'm sitting on. I may change it up and make it face the other way, but me sitting at a desk on a solo podcast feels a little better than sitting in that chair over there, which is the chair that I normally sit in is behind your view. But yeah, this is your boy Snax, and you have just listened to Under the Influence. This is like the second episode in a row I want to say Under the Influence. You know why I would say that? It's because I miss Carrillo. Yeah, that's my homie. That's my homie. And I was thinking that maybe he was gonna come this way and then hit me up and then he would be on today's podcast. But I will tell you this though. Now that Sunday seems to be the day that I'm going to shoot and then record the podcast, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this fool on here. Every time he come this way, he gonna stop telling me he on this side. So I don't mess with him and try to get him to come on the podcast. But yeah, this is your boy Snax with Just Hear Me Out podcast. Again, thank you for listening. We working and we're gonna continue to work. I only know how to make podcasts. I only know how to do a thing and get better as I'm doing it. So it's gonna evolve, but we're gonna keep dropping. But it's going to evolve until I can get to where I'm giving you an amazing episode full of good segments, full of a better backdrop, all of that. Just rock with me, and we're going to do it. All right, I'm going for real this time. Thank y'all for listening. It's your boy Snax. We out. Deuces.
Just Hear Me Out podcast with Snax and Big Flav. Not a tongue bitten and always worth a listen. Weekly on your favorite platform.